It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we are serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. Also, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us live, if you are watching live, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. That way you'll never miss when we're going live and in living color, or when we've uploaded a video that you would certainly want to hit the thumbs up button on. Also, if you are not able to look at our lovely, gorgeous faces and need to on that long car ride, or maybe while you're pumping some iron in the gym, or if you're taking a brisk walk around your neighborhood, check us out on your favorite podcast stations such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Just search Dishin Days and take us along with you so you'll never miss the drama of it all. And also, be so kind as to buy some merch. That's right. We have some lovely merchandise located at dishindays.threadless.com, where you could be the owner of one of these fine things. Check out our Mella Swin logo, Possess Dishin Days logo, or serve it up a full dish on a t-shirt, a mug, a sweatshirt, a hoodie, a notepad, whatever is to your liking. So make sure you go ahead and check out dishindays.threadless.com and get your merch today, because soon we're going to shut down the store and do a revamp and maybe have some new merchandise for you. So be on the lookout for that. Also, make sure you show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Lott Jr., over at JLJ Media on YouTube and wherever podcasts can be found. That's right. James is serving up a little dish of his own full of General Hospital, Bold and the Beautiful, and Young and the Restless to get your full soap opera fix. And also check out his original audio dramas, created, produced, directed, and starring James Lott Jr., because James is the only person that I know who was old enough to tell Eve to bite the apple. What do we think of? Oh, and also make sure you stay tuned, because later on in the show, we will be joined by Elia Cantu, Blake Berris, and Abigail Klein, Jada, Everett, Bobby, and Stephanie, as we dive deeper into the plot line that is thickening this week. Finally, we got some momentum going on that. Yeah. But before we get to all that, it's time for ye age-old question. What did we think of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives? Oh, before we get into that, sorry. Michael Mattis is not with us today because he's grown and got some things he needs to handle. So handle it, Michael Mattis. We're handling it here for you. And now, after all of that, Jesus, what did y'all think of this week's episodes of Days?
Loved it.
Yeah. Really, really good week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had some really good movement on stuff that I know we're getting into it soon, but I know we made a joke about the Everett Bobby stuff, but it seems like it's going now. Like it took off and it's racing. We also got some really sweet moments with the Horton stuff that I just thought was a real big highlight.
Mm-hmm. It was a really I mean, you guys hear me talk about balance all the time. It was such a well-balanced week between movement and memories. And the thing that I really liked about this week was that all the things that I've been complaining about were addressed. The pacing was so great this week in terms of everything that I've been basically screaming about, like, why are we taking such a slow time to get to this? We got to it. And in addition to that, everybody's motivation in terms of their their plot points and what they're doing, why they're doing it, we got to that as well. And so I'm a very happy camper.
Yeah.
I thought this week was very good. I thought it was very interesting. I thought definitely we are adding to the storyline, which is or storylines, which is really good. And so let's not waste. Sorry, I feel like I'm still like setting up over here. What is going on? Let's not waste any time, everybody. It's now time for our favorite part to see if we're actually going to say this together. It is now time to start.
Dishin
Days. Well, honey, it was close enough, Jesus. All right. So let's start off with our top storylines this week. Oh, man. And just realize, well, whatever. We're not going to have that this week. We have the Ballad of Everett Bobby. Dun, dun, dun. First of all, you have to start this off by giving a huge shout out to Elia Cantu.
Yes.
Because I feel like this is more of a glimpse into Jada, that she's not just this amazing cop detective, this very straight-laced, by the book, hardworking female, but there's more to her. And I feel like finally after this time, we have another layer to her, and we got to see another layer of her. And just her reaction to like coming in and being so happy, like, oh, okay, is this Everett? And then getting the look and being like, I know you lying. It was so good. So you have to give a shout out to Elia Cantu for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. That scene was really great and just well done. And we got everything I think we thought we would get out of a scene like that, where we have Everett Bobby either in confusion or manipulation. We're still waiting to see what that was. We see Stephanie being like, what the fuck is going on here? We see Ray completely out of it. Like, what are you talking about? Who is this guy? He also wanted to keep peace, but also support his girlfriend. So it was a lot of emotion going on in that scene.
Elia channeled the rage of every woman who has ever been called hysterical in their life. Every woman who has ever been told, you don't know what you know, you're overreacting, you're crazy. She channeled that rage so perfectly. It was a beautiful thing to watch. And the thing about that is that all it was is that she was just off balance. She's still all the things that we know about her. She's still all the things we love about her, but she was off balance. She was thrown, and she's completely allowed to be, because this is a bonkers situation.
I mean, I imagine being in that position, and like, how would you portray that? How would you, what would be the feels of that, right? And especially with Everett Bobby being like, listen here, lady, I'm not sure who you are, but I'm not this Bobby. And in your mind, you have to think, I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm seeing what I'm seeing. I know that you know that I know that you are Bobby. Yep. And you're not about to sit here and gaslight me into thinking otherwise. You is Bobby.
I
and the many ways that you could play that, because and this is why I say Elia played it so good, is because the more he kept saying he wasn't, someone probably could have just gotten so frustrated to in such a high level. But she was like that right level of like, I'm still shocked that you're sitting here. Where have you been?
Yep.
The audacity, the nerve, and the gall. And also, you know, whatever the backstory is with that, it's like she She kept her composure.
Yeah, like you said, it's all of that. It's even if he admitted that he was Bobby, it's still the shock of running into him. That's the last person she thought she would come around the corner and see by itself. So the fact that my ex-husband is now sitting here, I don't know why he's here. He's now being introduced as this other person. He's now sitting next to a family friend who I'm close to, who now she is involved with. It's like it's all of those things. Yeah, came to a head.
And it's not just his person, himself. It's the reminder of a period in her life that she does not want to go back to.
Yeah.
No. And also, what I also like is that they didn't have Stephanie be like, Jada, stop it.
Yeah. Yep.
She was like, no, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Now you had said you got the amnesia, the retrograde amnesia.
Yeah.
So how you know what I mean? Like it was also watching Stephanie put the pieces of the puzzle together and also realize like, now wait a minute, if this is true, baby, I'm the other woman.
Yep. I'm the other woman. Yep.
It's me being the other woman. Deborah, you're saying that I'm freezing. If you guys if there's like a connection problem, you guys let me know. Deborah, it might just be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Tony doesn't usually freeze until later on in the show.
Yeah, I got a whole hour before I freeze up. Okay, someone else said theirs is not freezing up. So okay, good. Okay, so just hit the restart button and you'll be fine.
Yeah, don't worry, we check on it.
But here was my favorite moment. Patch getting involved and being like, just kind of presenting the information that he found out. And I laughed when she was like, well, maybe it's a twin or something. I also went and checked the birth records and it's just him. It was like, imagine that one friend that goes and collects the tea.
Yep.
And as soon as you say, but I don't know what his license plate number, girl, his license plate number is California 2345, and just has like all the info. Like he was just like on it with the info.
Like before you even ask. Yep.
But I mean, we have concluded also in the 2.5. I don't know what Jada was using. Jada said, here, put your fingerprint right here.
Yeah, right.
Which
I was surprised. I was
Robert.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there is an app these days. I don't think that they use like the whole, ink or anything like that.
Oh, they don't do that anymore. Yeah, it's all digital now. Yeah. Not that I know. Not that I've been arrested or anything, but
I've seen it. I keep up with enough of, Law and Order and such and such,
I also noticed when Steve was giving her the information, he was being fair and like not sort of, I felt like he could have been a lot more forceful of like, this is him. He was sort of laying it all out for her. And I noticed when he talked about the hospital stuff, he was like, I can confirm there was a person there. Like he was specific to say like, I didn't find out that Everett Lynch was in a coma. I found out that there was a man in a coma around this time. No conclusive evidence, but here it is kind of a thing. I thought that was interesting too, that there was a man. I couldn't find out that if, it was Everett or Bobby or whoever the guy was.
This is the type of meddling that parental Steve needs to be doing. Not getting up in your daughter's business like, oh, what are your intentions toward my daughter? No, this is what he does. This is his job. And if he can use his job to help his child, then this is the exact type of meddling that is appropriate.
Yeah. But what I was also kind of confused about is if Jada could take 2.5 seconds and discover that he is in fact Bobby, why was John Doe laid up in that hospital and no one knew who was laying there?
That's the thing. Yeah. There
were no dental records, no fingerprints, no ID on him, because Steve was able to find the ID that said that he's Robert Stein. And it was an original ID, and showed that to Stephanie too. So I'm like, so you had that poor man just laying there and you didn't know who he was?
Mm-hmm.
Now cut to just about a year ago or so, or a few months ago, you had Mr. Robichaux laid up in the hospital, and they figured out who he was in a couple days.
Yeah, and it's sort of all bad, even if there's an excuse, because like Stephanie said, as the pieces started working and she went to visit him, she's like, even if you don't remember Jada, you're still this person. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it wasn't someone else. It wasn't someone did this. So despite the fact that you may not remember doing this, you still did this. So this is who you are. Since we know that Bobby Stein is, I guess, the legal name, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Like
Robert Stein.
Robert Stein. Where did Everett Lynch come from? Why does he think he's Everett? Like, there's so much confusion here, and it's all bad. There's no excuse that gets him off of this sort of scot-free. You know what I mean? It's still bad. Even if we go with his reasoning, which I guess we're leaning towards with the whole like fainting thing, that there's something medically wrong there. I don't know, but
mind you, this is the second time.
Yeah,
this is the second time he's fainted. He fainted first in front of Chad when they were cleaning up, and then now he's fainted during this. Yeah. So I really think that is a dot that will later be connected. I think someone in the chat kind of hit the nail on the head.
I think it's a plot point we've seen on this show many times before with different people.
But I'm the last character that did it. I'm so like, that is forever etched in my brain. In the history of days, it was amazing. And if you feel like we're tap dancing around revealing what it is, it's because like, if for some reason they go that way, we don't want to be the ones that said something, and then all of a sudden y'all are like tuning into us for like a scoop, and it's like, nope, we just know how to make 2 + 2 = 4.
Yes. Yeah, he could totally just be an asshole who doesn't remember being an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. It's still, yeah.
Totally possible.
You still were cheating on your wife and having an affair with this other woman who you were leading on, not a casual thing, or not, a one-time thing here or there, but yeah, you were leading a double life essentially.
It happens.
Can I also say the other thing that I laughed at was Everett Bobby opening up the door, and it's Jada like, you ready? Boom, and just walking in with like all the stuff. And side note, I wanted to see the wedding picture because it looked pretty.
Yes,
I know. Yeah, right.
It looked like it was like a nice like cityscape, and there she is in her wedding dress, just like, and then I was like, oh, and it's in black and white. I was like, now that looks like when you buy a picture frame, and they already have a photo in there.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like. That's what it was given. I don't know. This storyline is very interesting because, and I'm so glad we're finally here.
Yeah.
But the one thing that still sticks out in my mind is when he came to the Brady pub that day.
Yeah.
And saw her, and he Homer Simpsoned out.
Do you think they're gonna recontextualize that scene now? Because I think when we saw it, we immediately see him looking at everyone at the table and seeing Jada and turning around. And I wonder if it's going to be revealed that that wasn't the case. That he came in, maybe saw her with her friends and was like, oh, I'm not ready for this. And that's going to be, I don't know. I feel like they're going to give us a different perspective maybe of that.
I always thought that was the case, to be honest. His reaction wasn't what I thought it would be if he had recognized her.
And I said this, I think some of us have also said this too, that he hasn't been actively avoiding her either, which is weird. Because even when Abigail's brought up like meeting them, he hasn't tried to get out of it. So I felt like they're either going to come from the perspective of he really didn't recognize her that day he walked into the pub. Otherwise, he felt like he would have avoided this dinner somehow. I don't know. I feel like that's where they're going.
There's also they briefly said something that threw me off a little bit. Right before Jada opened the door, he said he can't remember the moments leading up to the accident.
Yes, and he was by himself, so he wasn't in earshot of anyone else where he was trying to convince him. That was a private moment that we saw. So I guess that's the truth.
Some ain't right in the buttermilk.
Yeah, it's still bad, even if it is the truth. There's still enough there to gauge a warning here.
Yeah. Well, we have finally arrived to the ever so what's the word I'm looking for? Anticipated meeting of Everett, Bobby, and Jada, and now we shall see what's going to happen because so many are already affected. Stephanie is just kind of like, what in the world? And also having to deal with the fact that like she's the other woman. Like Stephanie ain't trying to be no other girl.
I know. That's not...
This is the point where I advocate. If I were Stephanie's friend and we're sitting here watching all of this with her, I would say, girl, you need to start being single for a while. Not because you're doing anything wrong or you're bad at this, but because I think the universe is just trying to tell you something.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our next storyline, which gives us the feels. The Hortons, past, present, and future. I thought this was such an amazing, lovely, reminiscent, sad, like
bittersweet
episode. Like to see the Horton house burned, but certain things intact. We got the ornaments.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah.
We got the chair.
Yeah.
Yay!
Everything else burned to the ground. But I think it's a moment where you realize such a legacy started with two people who based their new beginnings and their family on love. And I remember when it was announced that the two actors were going to play the young Tom and Alice, and fans were like, I don't like when they do that. Why don't they just use flashbacks? And I'm like, well, first of all, Alice and Tom were grown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were middle-aged when it started. Yeah.
Yeah. But they went back to the very beginning, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And it made me think, because I think a fan said this, and I was like, that's actually not a bad idea. You really have a Days of Our Lives prequel, because you could start when they fell in love with their friends and everything that happened to them that got them to that point, and still keep going and building their family up until the point where Julie is still in the stole.
Yes.
And then it just starts all over. It's like,
or beyond Salem or something, or
or behind Salem.
Episode. Yeah.
But what did you guys think? Did it give you the warm fuzzies?
It did. I think it worked better. I think if these scenes were given in a different context, it would have been maybe like schmaltzy or like, oh, okay, nice, but whatever. But I think the context of it against the burned down Horton house and seeing the few Hortons we have left on the show sort of come together. I loved seeing Lucas show up there. That like did it for me for the episode. So those scenes with him, Julie, Doug, and Maggie. And then the flashback scene of him and Alice Horton, which I still remember seeing that day. That stuff with the older stuff, I think made it all work together.
You know, it was this whole episode needs to be submitted for Emmy recognition. For it obviously will be for next year. But this was such a beautifully told story through flashbacks and then recreated flashbacks of a family, and really reminding people that, you know, you see these larger than life couples and families, and, you know, the Hortons are obviously well known, and you put them in the context of, well, think about it. It's been almost 100 years since those flashback scenes happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you put it in the context of, well, they didn't start out as this big legacy people. They were two struggling people in the Depression, in the Great Depression. Everybody was out of work. Everybody was struggling. And he was just a medical student. You know, he wasn't getting paid that much, but he had dreams for his family. He had to find ways to support his young family. And Alice, being Alice, all she wanted to do with her time was raise her children and help people. And that's it. That was the bare bones of their foundation. And finding out that, they had help along the way, just like everybody else does. You know, that his father-in-law gave him the down payment for the house, that they, you know, that it was a brand new property at the time. And it was, you know, all these little things that really harken back to making Tom and Alice, who are now larger than life, that, you know, the square is named after them, and you think, I can never live up to people like that they were just two people who loved each other and wanted to build a family and help people. And that was it. That was the bare minimum of all that they wanted to do. But out of that grew such a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Tony has frozen.
I have frozen. Carry on about this episode. I'll be right back.
That happened earlier than we anticipated.
Yeah, I did like the little things too, of like the fact that John and Marlena used to live next door, and like all those things that like you forget about. Like I remember when they said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, they did live next door to the Hortons back then. And yeah,
all of the little details.
Yeah.
And I want to, I know I haven't heard of this, but for anyone who has some pushback in regards to, well, why was Leo the one telling this story? I don't mind that Leo is being brought more into quote unquote normal situations as a reporter, because if you think about it, it is not so far-fetched for Leo to be enamored by this great family who had such a great foundation in Tom and Alice, given his own backstory, because you know, Leo's been very open about the fact that he had a terrible childhood, a mother he hates. And I think that's why they're putting him in scenes where he is gravitating more towards family. He's gravitating more towards children, and because he has a very childlike personality about himself. And so I don't, if you put it in that context, I don't think it's out of the ordinary for him to want to know more and want to bring this story to his readers.
Yeah, the interest is the same. It's all just how it all boils down to, you can call it history, you can call it gossip. Like, it's all the same thing. It's just getting the facts of what happened or perceived happened. And yeah, it's I like the little callback with Thomas about being the tooth fairy. That was cute. I liked Julie. I liked that Julie was also suspicious of him when he came in, and it was like, he's like, oh, I want to know about the Hortons, and she was like, reluctantly, like, okay, but I got my eye on you, kind of a thing. I liked all of it. I thought
she was very much like, Leo,
yeah,
what are you doing here?
Yeah,
but I feel like that was the appropriate person to have, because we have seen Leo the past few months, especially after he delivered Nicole's baby. He has had the warm fuzzies. He has, loved, and so just seeing and hearing the legacy of the Horton family and what this house truly means, I think, made him, and the fact that they're pillars of Salem, just, it just made sense.
Yeah. So, and we got a time capsule that may lead into a storyline.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to be interesting because that's from 2016. They said the time capsule is from.
Oh, to be opened on or after
2016.
So it was so backwards 50 years. So it would be 1966.
What?
Because they usually do time capsules, usually 50 years.
Yeah, they said it in the thing. It was when she put that time capsule together was 1966.
Wow, that's going to be interesting to see what's up in there.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about the Horton house and the memories that they've had, we have been watching Days for quite some time. So what are some of your favorite memories of the Horton house?
So I'll start with mine, which again happened before I was born, before any of us were born. But through the magic of the internet, I found I believe this is the first scene of Tom and Alice, which is the late Francis Reed and MacDonald Carey, in the Horton house as Tom and Alice. So do we have that?
I wonder what Ben and Addie will think of for this year. For Christmas.
Christmas is Christmas. Not much you can do about new ideas for cards.
Do you remember the year that they were photographed in a real sleigh? Julie and Stephen holding the reindeer?
The kids look scared stiff.
Oh, they did not. Stephen enjoyed it. Julie was proud as a peacock.
Our granddaughter is always proud as a peacock. That's a natural expression. I wonder what Mickey's girlfriends would say if they could see this.
He was a beautiful baby.
I think I'll use this to blackmail him someday.
You wouldn't get very far. He's too good a lawyer. Oh, they do make a handsome couple, don't they, Tom?
I'm glad you approve.
Oh!
Yay. It's almost like in the beginning, there was Tom and Alice.
But you can see there's like it really hasn't changed. When we said that the Horton house hasn't changed in all of these decades, we weren't kidding. You can see the fireplace, you can see MacDonald Carey in the chair. It's just astounding.
And see, that's why I'm going to stick with my theory of they burned it down so that they could remodel it, so y'all don't get mad that they did a remodel. Anyway.
So for me, I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction. I'm going to go a little bit darker and a little macabre here. This one is specifically where Marlena, as the Salem stalker, confronts sort of her next victim, the lovely late Francis Reed as Alice Horton.
Hello, Marlena. I've been expecting you. I know it's you. I know that you're the killer. Well, Alice, you're right. I am the Salem stalker. And now that you know my little secret, you must die.
Marlena, Alice ain't scared of you. Alice is not scared of you at all.
Yes. Those that know, she eventually kills Alice in a very interesting way. I'll leave it at that. If you don't remember, go look it up. But it was just nice to see both Deidre Hall and Francis Reed sort of play against type in this kind of scene, sort of a horror scene for that type of storyline. But yeah, and also some of the backstage stuff that was going on that led to this storyline and then led to the end of this storyline. So yeah, interesting.
So my fond memories of the Horton house is a Horton Christmas. The Christmas ornament hanging has always been my favorite because it brought everyone together. It brought together the latest Horton who got a chance to hang their ornament onto the tree. And it was always just like such a magical time, especially with Christmas and everything like that. And because I loved this so much, I myself this past year got my own Horton ornament for my tree. So shout out to Tom for making this happen for me. But those are always like my fondest memories of the Horton house. So there's that. Yeah.
And we can't, I mean, I feel like this past Christmas, we were just so blessed with Peacock allowing so many memories to come out. I mean, the past 2 weeks, we've been inundated with such wonderful flashbacks. But at Christmas time, I know that, there was not a fan who did not weep during those scenes, especially now knowing that we have lost, we are going to be losing Doug Williams. And it was, this Christmas, past Christmas leading into this storyline, which will lead to the, the rebuild, the remodel, and then into next Christmas, where there will be one person at the table missing for the Christmas, that the chair, it will probably now be Julie's to sit in. And so it's all tangled up and so bittersweet in, what we love best about this show.
Yeah. Well, what year was it? 1965.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From 1965 to 2024. Rest in peace, the Horton house. Memories, it's so easy to leave. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next storyline, which is Stefan done shot Harris. Who saw this coming?
It's funny, Tony, when we were talking about it last week, we were making fun of how Stefan was reacting.
Yes.
And I felt like we kind of foreshadowed it, but we were joking about it. Why is he so slow? Why is he acting like he shot? We were sort of joking about that. And the fact that that's the reason why he was acting that way was because he shot Harris.
Now, is it me, or when it was revealed that he shot Harris, did everyone else start thinking about the timeline of okay, wait, so you shot Harris, shot him twice, got in front of him, stood there for a little bit, went back into the bistro, changed back into your suit, and then acted like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yep. But the timeline, I mean, it's quick, but it works.
I mean, you can always do a quick change, but I'm just like, because here's the thing about this storyline that's very intriguing is that the more Clyde snaps his fingers, the more people jump. And I just am wondering why Stefan decided to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that Clyde himself is scary. It's that he is inspiring others to do scary things on his behalf, and we don't know who they are. And that's the scary part of it. Clyde himself, where he is and what he's capable of, is not scary. If you want to go toe-to-toe, face-to-face with him, that's one thing. But the problem is that he's had time to build up this really spider-like network to where we don't know who's on his payroll, and that's a problem.
He got a big network of people. Just call him T-Mobile.
And also, I don't know, it seemed like was hinting, and maybe Clyde said this as a jab to Stefan. He was like, were you really trying to kill him? So do we think that Stefan was trying to avoid killing Harris, but actually shooting him because he had to? Or was it a mix of Clyde made me do this, but also I want you out of the way?
Oh, no.
Well, I don't know. It's interesting because when Clyde did say that, I was like, was Stefan like, okay, I'm going to shoot you, but I'm going to try to aim, not for an internal organ or whatever, so that you're still alive, but it maybe seems like you may be put in a coma or something. But then I'm like, no one's going to think like that. If that's the case, he could have just shot him in the leg.
No, because if it creates a bigger problem if he only injures him, because now he's going to wake up. He saw it was Stefan. He knows who shot him. So now it's creating a bigger problem. No, he was aiming to kill. And this goes to show that, he's going to do everything for Gabby. But at the same time, he is feeling guilty. That's why he's being there for Ava, because he feels guilty. Not guilty enough to not do it, but guilty enough to at least, comfort her in her time of need.
Does anyone else find it weird that Stefan was not wearing any sort of mask or anything?
Yeah. See, that's what's throwing me off too. Because I think also there might be some truth to that. Because even like you said, he wasn't wearing a mask, so he was okay with Kara seeing his face, and maybe that's the get out of jail free card. Like, listen, dude, I didn't kill you. I obviously had to do this because Clyde's making me, but I could have shot you in the head. Of course, I don't know. I feel like that's his little bit of an out there. And so whether or not Harris recognized him is sort of irrelevant if that's his goal is to not kill him, because he's obviously going to tell Harris that. So yeah.
When they were in the police station and they showed, because they're trying to put this on Xander. And so they had the picture of Xander in the tracksuit, which, mind you, we have already been like, there's no stripe. It's not Xander, right? Yeah. Now they have gone back and put that man in that same running outfit to still make it seem like it's Xander. But did anyone else have the thought that the photo was photoshopped by one of the cricket cops in the police station, and that wasn't Xander, but like the whole thing was just photoshopped to make it look like it was him?
Could have been.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, all possible. I mean, clearly the gun was planted. Clearly, they used the warrant as an excuse. You saw, and it was revealed it was indeed that female officer, Officer Goldman, who was there, and who's the person who barged in last with the saying, "I got a warrant. I got the warrant." The very and Goldman. then cut to we know she's crooked, so she's obviously the one who planted the gun.
Speaking of Officer Goldman, kudos to her for getting Trip and Wendy to this dungeon that she calls a safe house. But Wendy, why would you wait until you are leaving the park in the car, blindfolded, driven to, got out, walked into to say, well, let me call Ray. You didn't think to do that before you got in the car?
Yeah.
You didn't think to do that? Like at what point do you like go, like as she's talking, first of all, don't announce what you're doing. Just be like, who are you texting?
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just checking.
Also, why would they be blindfolded? Like, wouldn't that tip you? Like, they're the people who are going to the safe house.
They weren't blindfolded. They were put in a dark tinted van. And okay, I hate to go here. Before we do that, thank you, Manny, for that $20 donation.
Oh yeah,
thank you, Manny. And it was a surprise to see you. Manny busted up at Mickey's yesterday with his friends, and I was like, Manny, and he was like, Tony, and I was like, hey, and so shout out to Manny. Thank you very much. It was great seeing you yesterday.
Yeah. I hate to go here, but I will. But this is just the reality, so I'm just going to say it. No person of color whose parents taught them right would ever
not you with that long pause and staring.
Would ever get in. No, this goes to me too. We were taught you don't get in some random car with strangers. You don't even get in a random car with an authority figure like a police officer without saying, I want a lawyer. It doesn't matter if they're saying they're going to protect you. It doesn't matter. You make sure other people, anyone, a stranger on the street, sees you, makes eye contact, knows you're going somewhere with some other person.
What's happening in my house right now? There are dogs barking. There are doorbells ringing. What?
We whisked my phone at the beginning of this podcast.
I heard the phone, and I said, well, it's a good thing that ring got out of the way before we started. But now, My house is turned upside down.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with them.
Somebody said the dogs are ringing the doorbell.
What I do like, yeah, I mean, so Trip and Wendy are kind of screwed until somebody can get to them. The one part I do like about this, I love that Sarah and Justin believe Xander 100%.
Yes.
Because they know he's not a prince, but they know but I think it's by now they know what he is and isn't capable of, and that he can be slimy, he can be a little skeezy, but he's not, he's never killed someone, and he's certainly not going to kill someone with all of the evidence stacked up against him so sloppily.
It's way too convenient. The gun's in the house. He gets $50,000 in his personal checking account. And even Xander was like, "You think I would kill someone for just 50?" Like even that made no sense. So I think Rafe is starting to put the pieces together of like this. Yes, it's Xander, but none of this still makes no sense, even with Xander. Yeah.
No, none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
None of it. And I'm glad that Sarah has decided to stick beside him this time, as Lindsay Godfrey told us last week. She's gonna stick beside him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also think it's like I was saying a couple of weeks ago. It's interesting to it's interesting to that they did all the stuff with Wendy and Trip, right? And then like not really utilize them in the storyline. So I'm actually glad they got kidnapped. So now they can be utilized in the storyline. So that now it can make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So
at least they know now that Ava wasn't bluffing about wanting to get them out of town.
Right.
Oh, I had to crack up at Ava though, how she conveniently played Rafe and told him half the story, and then she finally admitted the whole story to Steve. I was like,
well,
yeah,
she did. She didn't. She kind of did, but she kind of didn't. She basically danced around it and used very carefully worded language so as not to incriminate herself in that moment. And then she just blurted everything out to Steve.
Yeah, well, I think the Rafe stuff, she made it sound like she and Harris she's an informant for Harris, and that's how it started. Not that she was already mixed up with Clyde before this. Yeah. And I feel like Steve sort of was like, "Girl, tell me the truth so we can make some headway here. Don't BS me." Yeah.
All right. Well, those were your top storylines that we will keep our eyes out on. But before we head into our tidbits, just some quick reminders. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell notification. And take us along when you can't watch us live. Take us with you on your favorite podcast station. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, make sure you buy some merch. Head on over to dishindays.threadless.com and get what's available now, because you never know. It might change. Also, make sure you go over to JLJ Media on YouTube and on your favorite podcast station to check out our former co-host, James Lott Jr., and all the drama he's cooking up over there. And also, all throughout, let us know your thoughts. I would like to know everyone's memory from the Horton house. It could be your favorite memory or something that sticks out, a storyline that took place. Let us know in the comments your favorite Horton house moment. All right, and now let's head into some tidbits. We're going to start with Paulina's heart attack. Did you have a heart attack?
Yeah.
They explained it in John mentioned it after the end of the week, but during the act when it was actually happening, they didn't know what it was.
Paulina was hungry. She said, "Please give me something to eat." And I would have been mad had they been sitting there cutting that cake up in front of me, knowing I'm hungry. Like, take that outside.
I was like, Paulina in that board. I'm like, I'm already annoyed, girl. Like, just write it on your phone or something. I can't do the whiteboard. You trying to?
Right.
Yeah.
But let's hope it's not an up and down roller coaster to Paulina's health. I mean, the initial surgery went well. So yeah, we're just praying and hoping and wishing and praying.
It's a complication, but she was in the right place. You know, obviously, if you're going to have a heart attack, the better place, no better place to be than in the hospital with a doctor down the hall. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, good old Connie returns. That's right. Connie, played by Julie Dove, comes back in to share her knowledge of the things in Salem. She was basically like, had it not been for you, Melinda, Miley would still be alive had he been with me.
That was a funny surprise.
Yeah.
I think Julie gave us a little hint a couple weeks ago, was it, or whatever? But yeah, it was a nice little surprise anyway. Yeah, and funny.
We'll start calling her Meddling Connie.
Also, it seems like they're teeing up for something else too in the future. Yeah, with that last scene of Sloane, of Melinda warning Sloane not to be so reckless and not to confide in anyone, and then we get that wide shot of Connie in the corner drinking. So
yeah,
maybe we'll see Connie and Sloane as drinking buddies with her getting some tea. Maybe
Sloane's got some loose lips there. My goodness.
Well, that's when she gets the alcohol.
Oof.
And you know what? And again, I'm tired because everybody knows everyone in Salem has supersonic ears. Remember Chloe, finding out that Philip was still alive from like 1,500 feet away. And now Salome wants to be like, because you kidnapped Nicole's baby and gave it to us. Anyway, we'll see how if we'll have any more Connie pop-ups happening. But next up we have Avenging Katarina, Konstantin, and his revenge for what happened to his darling Katarina. Shout out to Konstantin for his shadiness by telling Patch, like, I can see through your one eye. I was like, oh, Konstantin, not the shade. Not the shade.
And he's getting closer to Maggie. They've officially kissed, and it's like, oh God.
Was I the only one when Konstantin was like, Maggie, can I ask you something? She's like, sure. Can I kiss you? I, without hesitation, went, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. It's like, Maggie, what are you saying yes for?
Like, no, don't be saying yes to him.
And a kiss on the lips. A part of me thought like, oh, is he coming in for like just a kiss on the cheek to say thanks for, sharing this moment with me? But no, he wanted a kiss on the mouth.
And here's the thing. I got mildly interested in this story. And he had me, he's talking about a daughter that we didn't know he had. He's clearly still in mourning. He's relating to Maggie, who has also lost children. And then he did that, and I was done. I was back again. I'm like, done. No, get him away. He's slimy. He's disgusting. Get him away from me.
I'm just, but the thing that's now, again, that's intriguing is now the mentioning of Katarina being murdered. And apparently Steve knows about it. Steve was there. And so Konstantin confronted him and being like, you saw it through your one eye. And also John. So the whole pawn storyline and everything, it's like, it's interesting because I want to see how those pieces of the puzzle come together. So
yeah, it's interesting. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, speaking of folks who are lashing out, we got Tate lashing out in his halfway house. He basically, let me tell you what Tate said this week. He looked at his mom and dad and said, baby, I'm not the one who needs to be in no halfway house. Because I, Tate, ain't no drug addict. As for you two,
I was a little on his side there. Not completely. Not the way he necessarily spoke to them, but I felt like they were doing that like in pardon me, they were doing that rehab talk to him, and he was like, no, not needed here. That's not the situation. I'm not here because I did something wrong. I'm here because I'm being accused of doing something wrong, or people believe I did something wrong. But yeah, they were leaning a little bit too much into the like, be here, get well, get better, and it was like, get better from what? What y'all talking about?
This was the actual definition, the proper definition of righteous indignation.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's in the right.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he did nothing wrong. He's even and he's in the right in this conversation. Yeah. As you just said, Justin, where he's like, no, get away from me with that talk, because that talk is not for me, because you know that I'm a good kid and I may have made some mistakes, but I had my life together right before all this happened. I was going to school. I was working a job. I was earning my keep. I was building I was building friendships. I was repairing my relationship with my parents. He was literally doing all the things. And then this happened.
Yeah. And he even said, like, he was trying to help someone, but I feel like he kind of regrets that because of what's not free tater tot, because of what happened with him. So
I will say the one point they did make was when they were trying to get him to realize that just because Holly wakes up, that she's necessarily going to be on his side. I thought that was the part that should have been emphasized a little bit more and less of the other stuff, because that is true, and he does need to come to that realization that she may not tell the truth, or she may not remember, and the fight isn't over, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, that was your week of days, and now we're going to go into our favorite part of the show, which are our segments, and we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's Official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh, snap! Oh, snap!
All right. So my 3 Snaps Award goes to the person who got her feelings out, and before she left twice, she said, and one more thing, take a look.
And I know who you are, and you will be found out, and you will eventually get what you deserve. But because I am, run. Get out while you can. Oh, and I am not going to stop digging until I get the whole story on you. And best believe people are going to hear about it. I don't know, maybe from a rival newspaper. You got that, Mr. Editor-in-Chief?
So congratulations to Ms. Elia Cantu as Jada Hunter for not only some amazing scenes, but also an amazing exit, because she said, and one more thing, and one more thing for you. 3 Snaps Award. Oh, snap, because I don't know where that button's at.
It was the rival newspaper for me.
And now it's time for
Those Were the Days.
All right, taking it back to February 23rd, 2017, where we had the debut of Mr. Lamone Archie as Eli Grant, coming off the storyline. We had his mom, Valerie Grant, who used to be a character on the show, her sort of being on the show for a few months and hinting at a son. And then we had the unfortunate passing of David Banning, Julie's son, and then sort of bringing this all back, culminating in, surprise, surprise, Eli is the son of Valerie and David, making him a full-fledged Horton. So yeah, this movie first got Lamone as new character, some diversity, a new Horton, a new male Horton, which is very few and far between these days. So yeah, February 3rd, 2017, where Lamone Archie debuted as Eli Grant.
And
those were the days.
I feel like that's loud. And now it's time for
It's a Gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to the incomparable Jack A. Harry, who proves once again that she's the queen because she doesn't even need to talk to make her point. She just needs her whiteboard.
Hungry.
This is me all the time, every day. Mm-hmm.
Same. That was me before the show, but I made sure to take care of that, which I'm already planning my next meal. And that was
It's a gift.
And now it's time for
News and gossip.
Starting off, we have a little bit of casting news. Speaking of Lamont Archie's Eli Grant, we are welcoming both him and Sal Stowers back as Eli and Lonnie Grant this upcoming week. I'm not sure how much screen time they're going to have, but we do know they're coming back. And guessing we're suspecting that Lonnie is finally out of jail, which should be interesting because we might get an answer to some type of future on the show or a storyline for them. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, we are very happy to see our old friends Lamont Archie and Sal Stowers back as Eli and Lonnie this week. So fingers crossed this is just the beginning of seeing them a lot more. So yeah.
I'll take them any way I can get them.
Right.
Yeah. And next up, the official nominations for the Writers Guild Awards have been released, and Days of Our Lives has been nominated for Best Daytime Drama. So congratulations to the team. Ron Carlivati, our head writer, Ryan Kwan as creative consultant. We know that Ryan has basically the book, the Rolodex of Days history. Congratulations to them, the entire writing team. Days actually did win this award last year, and the award ceremony will be taking place this April.
Yes, and we have some big tantalating news. Big congratulations to the hunks of Daytime. They will be featured in a spring edition of Playgirl magazine, which is digital now. We have Mr. Paul Telfer, we have Rob Wilson, Eric Martzoff, Christopher Sharon, and Brian DiTillo. So we will see them in some sort of variety of undress in their new spring edition of Playgirl. And we will definitely keep you informed as that progresses. I think this past week they have met with photographers and shot everything that we will see. So stay tuned for that.
This is where the giggling me comes out.
the giggling you mean like this little shot from what's been? Does that make you giggle?
Speaking of Rob's session
there. let's just say it's a very good thing that I'm not like right in front of this right now.
Boy.
I know, I turned 12. All right, next up, we have an interview that was just done with our very own Mr. James Reynolds in the locker room. He was a part of a couple of guests who were paying tribute to legendary soap actress Ellen Hawley, who was the first Black actress on daytime television. She played the role of Carla Gray on One Life to Live. And they did this in honor of Black History Month, also because Ellen Hawley unfortunately passed away last year. And for those of you who aren't up to date, basically the reason this beautiful actress, this storyline made such a splash was because she entered the One Life to Live family playing a white character. And it wasn't revealed until 5 months into her run that she was actually Black pretending to be white, and she was in an interracial love triangle, which, keep in mind, this is the 60s at the time. So very big storyline at the time, paved the way for all of the wonderful Black actors that we love and see today. And so that interview is currently up on the locker room. Go check that out now.
Yeah. Next, a big congratulations to our friend Jackie Cox, aka Darius Rose. Their one-man play, Make Me Gorgeous, has been extended. Originally, the run was from February 1st to the 25th. It has been getting such amazing reviews. It has now been extended through March 24th. So in New York City, any tickets and information, go to gorgeousplay.com. Check it out.
All right, next up, we have upcoming the announcement for Samantha and Friends or just continuation. So we have the 2 events that our Samantha's Friends are hosting fan events. The Enchantment Under the Sea is the first. That'll be coming up sooner than you think. The weekend of May 4th and 5th. And then the second will be the Golden Age of Hollywood, the weekend of September 14th to 15th. This year, you have a little bit of time for that second one, but we're already in the last week of February. So if you want to sign up for Enchantment Under the Sea, please get your tickets and information at samanthasfriends.org. Both of these events are in Florida, but they have tons of cast members attending, as you can see. So please call the number on our picture right there, or go to their social media, go to samanthafriends.org for tickets and information.
Yes, and last but not least, we want to give a big birthday shout out to our very own Miss Anna Demira, the lovely Leanne Hunley, who had a little birthday celebration this past week with some of our favorite co-stars, Teo and Lauren Koslow and Christian Alfonso. So, and if you know anything about these 4, they're always together. They are real life, really good friends, and the dinners they have together and celebrations. And this was just another one, just honoring Leanne for her birthday. So yeah, go show us some love.
Yay. Happy birthday. I know that was a good birthday gathering right there, just with those. All right, now before we welcome our guests, let's show you what's coming up on this week's episode of Days of Our Lives. And I was stalling because I could not find the button, but here we go.
Tell us.
Where did you get the drugs?
Lonnie's been released.
What Mom was going through? I'm really worried about her.
You love her? We don't even know who you really are. You're gonna finish the job, damn it. He's under surveillance. How the hell am I supposed to kill him?
Days of Our Lives.
What is going on with there's a lot. There's a lot happening. Wow. It's too much.
Yeah.
I mean, Luther Vandross always told us it's never too much, but this is too much. There's so much happening. I mean, I'm just saying, it's a lot. That was a lot to process there. What did you guys? What are you guys thinking after watching that?
It's some good there. We see Eli and Lonnie, of course, we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We see some progression with this Everett Bobby stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be another one of those, if not info week, because I feel like we got a lot of movement, but it was a lot of information movement this past week. Even if we just get reactions, I'm totally down for that because it's bananas.
Mm-hmm. And I love the EJ Nicole, that was giving me like middle-aged married couple, like screaming baby, you know, like
oh my god,
out of sleep of like, you know, the baby's crying, who's gonna take, you know, who's got her this time, kind of a thing.
Every time the beginning of that promo airs, it scares me a little bit because it took me a second to realize that it was Holly, that if it sounded like a ghost,
right?
Yeah, like of course you jump out of bed for that. You think somebody's gonna kill you.
Mary Bliss with those two. Another reason why we should stick to EJ and Nicole. I'm just saying.
They work really well together. They do. I mean, it feels like they're in such a good place. They have such a good dynamic, and they make each other better. And I know that I'm like, you know, rambling, but it is what it is. You know, I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get to chime in on some of the stuff that happened last week. So I enjoyed the AJ Nicole stuff. I enjoyed the Johnny and Chanel wedding. Mm-hmm. Oh, and speaking of, they just reminded me, if anyone is currently was at yesterday's, or I think today is also the day players have a show as well. Please go ahead and post on socials and tag them and let them know that they're having a good time. I thought about the day players this week. They're in Florida. They're at one of their shows, and this is to my knowledge, this is Brandon and Carson's first weekend sans baby.
Yeah.
Sans newborns. That's a particular kind of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So now we are going to bring in our special guests with their storyline that has just been heating up this week. Please help me welcome Elia Cantu, Jada Hunter, Blake Berris, as what we're calling now Everett Bobby, and of course, Abigail Klein, Stephanie Johnson. Hello, all you lovely people.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
There we go. Okay, check. We can hear everybody.
Yes.
Oh, hi, guys. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How are you guys?
We're doing great.
Good.
We are very excited that finally, after all this time of so many missed connections and missed opportunities and missed things, that this week Jada finally saw Bobby.
And let it rip.
Yes, I feel like it's been such a long time coming. I want to know from you guys, like, how did you feel finally seeing like the reveal is about to happen, and that this storyline that I feel like the show has kind of been tap dancing around, like, the introduction of Everett, and then the introduction that there's history with Jada, and then we've just seen the Homer Simpson of it all, of everyone just like missing each other, and then finally it's happening. What was y'all's initial reaction to it happening?
I think
it.
we were all like waiting for it. I mean, I remember us filming, like, when's it gonna happen? Like, when are we finally all gonna be in the same room together? So yeah, we were excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super. Go ahead, Elia. It's so good to see you guys.
You too.
I was gonna say the same thing. It was super exciting just because this is just the start. So we were all like, we would get together and chat about it, like Blake and Abigail, and we would just we were just enjoying this whole storyline, and that we get to have all this fun and get to have all these different dynamics and layers to all of our characters. So once again, it's just the start. So I'm happy that it's like starting now.
Yeah.
I think like there's. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Blake.
I was gonna say there's so much like treading water, I think, on soaps, like, and especially because of the writer's strike and stuff. I think that there was like this period where they didn't want to necessarily like make a huge decisive turn with the story, and so but then they did, and now it's like it's sort of rocketing forward, and so it's exciting. It was exciting for us as actors, obviously, when you get like actual plot developing, and it was super fun. I mean, to finally sort of, because I read the stuff, and Elia and I would like chat in the hallway and catch each other up on what is, anything we might have missed in the scripts and stuff, and it was fun to finally like do those scenes with each other, and Elia was so amazing, and Abigail was so amazing in them. I loved watching it finally on TV.
We know how fast you guys move on daytime. Were you able to rehearse those pub scenes, or was it one of those another one take kind of thing, or a few takes? Or
Did we rehearse? I don't remember if we ran it before. I feel like we did maybe rehearse just together. I can't remember now.
Yeah, like everything feels like a blur. I want to say
what I remember is that I do think that it was a day where I remember one of our producers that I think we all sort of love is Sarah, and Sarah was on the floor that day, and it was one of those days, like usually you're just really having to like rush through things, and they were allowing us to find it and redoing some takes in order to make sure it was really good, which is not always the way it works. Like we don't have the time, but And then I think I'm sure we ran the lines, but I think part of the fun of that episode was that I think none of us wanted to sort of spoil the surprise with each other too much before we landed on set, and sort of wanted to feel like it was just happening in real time.
Yeah. Now, Blake, what were you told before these scenes aired? Did you know at that time the full story, or were you still in the dark? Because I feel like if you were put in the dark, then you had the hardest job of all to play sort of this ambiguity, this like WTF moment.
I knew where it was going. Yeah. Before Albert departed the show, or whatever you call it, he pulled me aside and was like, okay, you're going into a Jekyll and Hyde sort of storyline. And I was like, awesome. Okay. All right. Crazy.
Okay. Interesting wording.
We might have.
I also thought
is.
like the most, all of those scenes was just that he's full, has no idea what she's talking about.
Well, it's interesting because one of the things that we keep referring to is the one time that Everett walked into the pub and saw Stephanie and Jada, and I, till this day, will always call it the Homer Simpson back out into the pub. Like he walked in and we felt like he saw Jada, remembered her, but then like kind of backed out. Like, what was that the note or direction, or like what was? Oh, Blake is gone. He's traveling. It's okay.
Homer Simpson.
He did it again.
Can you imagine if he just did that because we were talking about it and not no connection issues? He was
like, nope. You know what? I'm gonna Homer Simpson right back out. There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Sorry, guys. I'm en route back from a trip, and the service is. It's okay now. I think we're good.
It's fine. Listen, we've had people who just jumped out of planes. Hop on. We've had all kinds of things. But what we were talking about, Blake, is the moment that Everett walked into the pub and saw Jada and Stephanie, and then he eased right back out. Is like, can you explain that moment for us? Because we think that he knows Jada. He was like, not dealing with this today. But what was your thought process behind it, or if you knew anything about that moment?
That's a very good question, Tony. I had a lot of talks with people about trying to figure out how to do that. Because I was confused, and I think other people are confused, but what I decided to play with was this sort of a couple of things there. Like, there's one that like he doesn't like Everett doesn't I don't want to spoil anything, but what I was playing with in that moment as an actor, we'll say, just for the choices, not to do with the plot necessarily, but was that he has no idea who she is. But at certain moments while she's talking and they're looking at each other in the eyes, there is some maybe like reptile brain, like awareness that the body knows that this person is familiar. And I think that like actually what he's doing when he comes into the pub at that moment before they have the confrontation is like, he's like, oh, Stephanie's with her friends and I have all these feelings for her, and it's not the right moment, because you think he's going to reveal the stuff about Jada, but he doesn't. It's actually just about the friend zone sort of stuff, and wanting to progress the relationship. But I couldn't not acknowledge what's actually going on, which is that I do think that like his body maybe like just there's something in his subconscious that's there that stops him and prevents him from going and joining Stephanie in the pub.
Yeah. Now, as we know, Days likes to keep things under wraps and not tell too much, but just enough. When you guys got this scene, how did you figure out how to play this without knowing any backstory, especially Elia and Blake, like your characters, like what was that past like? Because we don't know, and I'm sure you guys were still discovering it at that time. Or like, how did you as actors decide what the backstory is for you in order to play the moment in a way that you felt would make sense, if that makes sense?
I think it makes sense, and I'm going to try to make some sense going forward. Because just like how Blake answered the last one. So from a character standpoint and development, so we get the script. Okay, so we're getting the script, and that's like the bones or the map. And so I know I can speak for myself. I look at all the clues in there, so I might not be literally told that this is exactly what happened with, Bobby and Jada. But based off of, just Jada's reaction, based off of the words she's saying, when she's talking to Rafe, she's explaining her feelings. So as an actor, I have to kind of just give myself a backstory, even if I'm not given one. So I just create one that I feel that would make sense to have this outcome or this reaction that she would have, and to feel that way, and to keep the stakes high and to keep it truthful.
Mm-hmm.
You did that with me too when we were doing our scenes at the pub. Remember, we were talking about our exes, how he would leave socks around. We were like, wait, is it the same ex? Should we decide it's Everett, Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
At the time, but I remember you had to create a lot of, how bad was this relationship? Why are you being vulnerable with me and telling me about this? And I remember you even starting it back then to build to what you did the other day.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Elia, I have to ask, where did the I think I know the answer. But where did you pull that rage, that kind of tempered like control / rage that was just layered throughout? Where did you pull that from?
We'll just say, unfortunately, I've had some real life experiences that I was able to pull on out and use that to make some delicious lemonade.
Yeah.
All right, Beyonce, we're in our lemonade era.
Yeah. Like,
oh, Blake's gone again. Yeah. But just pulled from. I wanted it to be as truthful and real as possible because it's a very, I think, real situation that a lot of people do go through. I mean, maybe not the whole coma and hit by a train, I don't know. But as far as we've all felt betrayal or deceit, deception, or feelings of that nature.
I feel like your scenes need to be pulled and put online and say, this right here is for every woman who has ever been called hysterical.
But I think what we really enjoyed about the scene, and we were talking about this earlier, was that it was such a great mix of, I'm excited to meet my friend's new partner, with I know you lying, like this mine, with like, where have you been? And then you have Abigail as Stephanie being like, what is going on, and trying to like put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And what we liked was that she didn't automatically like side with Everett, but she was also like, but wait a minute, now you told me that you had the retrograde amnesia. So it was kind of like this continued layer of like the discovery, but also like he said this in the past, and then like, oh my God, I'm the other woman. So the scene as a whole was just, we were all like this the whole time, and you guys were just so amazing and so talented with doing it. And like, kudos to you guys for doing it, because you gave us drama this week.
Yeah, Abigail, how did you play that duality? Because we saw that in the scene at the pub, but then we also saw it in the scene later on in the week with Blake, and you're, you know, she's sort of teetering, but she's also like, you know, first and foremost, Stephanie is an intelligent woman, and that's always at the forefront, regardless of how, you know, feelings may get involved. And, yeah, how was it considering that line there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm laughing at Blake. Well, so
Oh boy.
we lost him again.
Poor Blake.
Well,
He's
trying to get it together.
He's trying to get it together. Bless him. But yeah, it was, gosh, it was, I like that, how you said teetering, because she's intelligent to suddenly, you know, be aware of, hey, you know, my dear friend is telling me this guy is bad news, but also it's so shocking and unbelievable that I think in Stephanie's mind, she's like, wait. She's wanting to slow everything down, because not only is she processing, she wants to get the right answers. I think she wants to problem solve so badly, because she's like, no, I want my best friend. I want my boyfriend. I want to go on a double date.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's Day. Like, I think she's so positive and hopeful, but also like, whoa, put the brakes on. Let's figure this out. Let's like talk about this with even heads, you know, later on and whatnot. So I remember that moment where Rafe is like, I think we need to revisit this another time. She's like, yeah, I think so too. But yeah, I think that was really, I loved that they didn't have her side with one person or the other, but where she just was kind of like, total shock, total absorption, just total processing mode. And so that's what I was embracing and sitting in, because I really wanted to care about both Everett, and who I thought I knew as Everett, and who I thought would never be so duplicitous. There's no way. And then to find out it was with my, you know, best friend, like, wait, no, this can't be real. I think
you were a total,
this can't be real.
like a total proxy for the audience there. Yeah.
Yes. But as we found out off screen, she did the smart thing. And what she do? She ran to Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy, something is wrong. Something is weird. I need help.
Yes, and you know, his with his background, right? It's like, of course it makes sense that she would enlist his help, and you know, who do you know? Call. What do you got to do? But I do remember in those scenes with Steven, there was a line where I said, you know, is he a twin? And I remember I loved that line, because when I was reading the script, I genuinely, as myself as the actor, was hoping so badly he was a twin. I was like, please be a twin. Like, there's no coming back from this. Like, what's happening? You know? So
definitely
I was just as hopeful as Stephanie in that moment of being like, are you sure, Dad? Like, are you sure he's not a twin?
No, what I loved about that moment was the second that he was like, the second that you said their line of like, is he a twin? And he immediately was just like, baby, I pulled up the hospital records and it's just him.
Yeah, brutal.
Very brutal. Abigail, I wanted to ask you in regards to Stephanie. There have been some thought as to how Stephanie has been bouncing from one gentleman to another, and I just want to get like your take on it. Like, how do you feel? You know, do you feel like Stephanie may need just like a moment to just work on the PR company and to herself? Or I mean,
Abigail and I have had this conversation before.
I do have several thoughts. Because, you know, Stephanie's my girl. Okay, so if she wants to bounce around, who am I to tell another woman not to bounce around? You know what I'm saying? So like, I say, good for her. Do what you got to do. Live your life. But conversely, you know, I think for Stephanie, she wants what she really wants is family and love, and she wants what her parents have, right? I always say that. And so maybe to have what she wants specifically, I don't know. I think she's just trying to find it, you know, and everybody so far that she has tried to find it with, I mean, there's only been, I guess it's only been, I don't know, a year, but there's only been 3 prospects. And 2 of which were serious. And so I kind of feel like with Everett coming back, it's kind of not necessarily a new person, but sort of that he's that original person for her. Like, she was already dreaming of whatever white picket fence with this man years ago, right? So I don't really think of her as really, you know, dating so much, but I can see maybe where people think that, but I also I never play her as someone who is embarrassed of that or feels shame about that. I only want to play the feeling of, oh, I want something so badly. Why am I not there yet? Why am I not getting that? You know, like, I don't think there's any shame in her game. I just think I would rather play the yearning for what she really wants and what I know she knows she deserves, right? So
it's so hard to be the child of a super couple.
It's so hard. And there's so many fun moments where they have, you know, Stephanie interrupting their anniversary was like one of my favorites, because I'm like, yes, not only is it awkward to see your parents hooking up, but it's also a reminder of, like, you don't have that. You don't have all those decades of love and memories and funny moments to share. And so it's kind of like, I don't know. I love it. I love that she gets to feel, you know, that she has that example and she has that, she wants exactly that, but she also kind of feels sad about it too. So I think you feel a lot of things when it comes to the super couple parents, for sure.
We'll see. Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, because, you know, people were trying to call Stephanie a bed hopper, and I was like, no, it's not that. You know, I mean, there ain't but so many men in Salem anyway to choose from. So if one don't work out, I mean, you just gotta, like, go to the next.
Exactly. And honestly, I almost think she should have speed dated. Like, I'm like, maybe she should just do more. I think she should freeze her eggs and maybe speed date. And you know,
hey, we found a new future.
I'm totally here for a Stephanie freezing her egg storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, breaking news, everyone who will listen to this podcast later. We have found a new feature on the StreamYard. I don't know if I can do it, but
it popped up.
I think you have to hold it up, maybe.
Yeah,
there it is.
Oh my goodness.
It does that too.
Wow, guys.
New discoveries every day.
Like, wait,
mine doesn't work.
Blake, I wanna ask you while we still have you on a good connection. Blake, for you, what was it like coming back, not in the role of Nick, because we had literally just, you know, had Nick as like the devil's assistant and everything, but now as this new character of Everett, like what did you do to when you tackled this role to make sure that, like, people could see a difference between Nick and Everett, since it was so close that we had just seen Nick?
I guess, like, I didn't dwell too much on it. Like, I think, like, the situations that are written and the way the dialogue is written just sort of naturally bring out different sides of you. Like, I didn't like the way, like, Nick is just written in such a different way. Like, he's sort of like way too clever phrases, and he's sort of a bitch, you know, like, he's just sort of like always trying to be like smarter than you and like sort of talking himself into, you know, and he's sort of brilliant mastermind sort of character, and that was really fun. Like I loved doing that. And they'd give him heart as well. Like I no knock to Nick. I loved Nick, but I was really excited about wiping that slate clean, especially because there were so many incarnations of Nick. Yeah. That it felt really fun, and I knew that, like, I mean, I think that they like to throw batshit stuff at me because I have fun with, like, I think they know, like, I like it, like I have fun with it. Yeah. So yeah, buckle up. There's a lot more coming at you on the Everett side of things. But I guess, like, especially in the early days, like, you know, it's great. Like, he's sort of a straight shooter, and he's a romantic, and he's got a lot of journalistic integrity, and that was actually a side. Like, I don't know, I always get cast as really crazy, like, I don't know, drug addicts and like, yeah, people with various disorders, and it was fun to lean into like a more romantic side and enjoy that. Maybe not for that long, but enjoyable nonetheless.
Wait, I'm curious, which iteration of Nick did you like playing? Was it the nerdy sort of chick Nick? Was it the jaded single dad Nick? Or was it sort of what we ended on, the ex-con sort of villain Nick?
That's a good question. I mean, no, I think like at the time, like the early Nick, like, you know, it was initially supposed to be this sort of like Napoleon Dynamite sort of weird storyline. And like, I always like, I sort of like, I think now I would be like more, I don't know, like comfortable in myself. I mean, I went for it. Like, I don't know how to like not just sort of go for it, but I found it really embarrassing actually. And like, it was just so like unfortunate. He was such an unfortunate, like, but then after that, it went into this sort of graduate storyline with like him losing his virginity to Billy, Chelsea's mom. And I love that storyline.
That was bad.
So much fun with like, like being in a love triangle with mother-daughter. Like that was.
Abigail doesn't know anything about this.
I mean,
yeah, that happened.
Wow.
That happened.
Bouncing around.
That was how I lost my TV virginity. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. Those early days were wild. I know people like to remember Nick, and we now know like kind of like 2013 on is crazy Nick, but those early years were pretty wild in and of themselves. There was more like wild things kind of happening around Nick, but as opposed to him causing them, but it was still kind of nutty.
It was. And then I guess just to flash forward a little bit more, like when I came back to the show and I did not love the like homophobia side of Nick, like, but I did love going head to head with Chandler. Like we had so much fun acting together, and I liked being sort of the nemesis there, and we got to play a lot. But the stuff that I'm doing, this like the Everett Bobby stuff is my favorite for sure.
Nice.
No, we're very like, we've been excited about the storyline because we knew that there was a lot to this. And so this week when we finally got the reveal, we're like, okay, finally, let's get there. Let's really like discover and pull back the layers of who Everett Bobby is and who he was with Jada, and who he was with Stephanie before this walk to the post office happened.
Totally. I'm right there. I'm right there with you.
I may never look at dropping off a package at the post office again the same way.
Well, if you do, you might want to look left and right to make sure you don't get hit by a car.
Oh no, I'm a smart driver. I look left, I look right, and then I look left again.
There you go.
That's a lot of back and forth. We have a few questions from our lovely audience who's watching. And the first one is, wait, where'd it go? There we go. Nope. Hold on. The first one is from Samaj DeVos. I just butchered that. This question is for Elia and Abigail. What has been your favorite Jada and Stephanie scenes together?
Cute. What would you say?
I know.
I
I
love
feel
their
like
drunk
there's
scenes myself.
Oh, the drunk
I
scene?
do love our drunken Brady pub scenes too, Blake.
Oh,
Yeah.
the drunk ones. I'm
I
sorry, I'm
think-
having a hard time hearing. Is that just me?
I think there's a little
There's like a
feedback, but
Okay.
Yeah, I do hear some background maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
it's Oh,
I don't know.
Maybe it's not.
There we go.
Oh,
That's-
is that better?
Yeah, better.
Okay, there
Yeah.
we go.
Okay.
Oh, Blake just said, "I'm just gonna mute myself."
Oh yeah, maybe it's the road.
Yeah, it went away. I guess that was it. Thank you.
Like I think the Brady pub scenes were quite fun, I would
Yeah,
say.
that was fun to do because it's where we get to do anything like slightly kind of comedic or just things for fun as friends, instead of us talking about like something so serious. We got to just kind of like let loose a bit. So I hope we have like more scenes like that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
We said last week when we were talking to Paul and Lindsay that Sarah should definitely join a drunken night with Stephanie and Jada, and just like y'all just have a good time and air out all the grievances and cheers and get a little toasted.
I love it. I think that episode should be set in Cabo, and maybe we shoot this on location.
Oh, we missed the location stuff.
Elia, what's it like to get to play big again? I mean, we haven't really seen data like that since the Talia storyline. So what's it like to sort of come in and sort of kind of command the scene and play sort of high emotions like that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning.
No. I'm saying, what's it like to be playing these high emotions? I think we haven't seen sort of Jada be this forceful and this sort of worked up since like the Talia stuff. And so what's it like to kind of every day come in and play this? Is it exhausting? Is it tiring? Is it rewarding? Is it?
Yeah, all of the above. It can definitely be draining and exhausting. But it could also be like, just a good like release and rewarding as far as knowing that like you just put it all out there, you put it all on the floor, and you don't we don't get a lot of takes. So you got to really, moments like that help you as an artist to really just trust yourself and go there. Like how even Blake was mentioning, he's not afraid to go there, and he's not. And working with Blake and Abigail, I do want to say this is that I think it has been amazing, and I'm so proud of all of us. And I just think we play off of each other so well, and that's what a lot of the audience is feeding off of. And I know we don't have Galen here today, but I know Rafe was there, and that like down, he was like,
Okay, Galen was the most confused. At least like Stephanie has a horse in the race against you two, but Galen was just like, "What's going on? I don't know anything. I met this guy a couple weeks ago. This is my girl. She's flipping out."
But yeah, especially like when I just leave it. I don't know why it's a small part, but the way like he's just like, well, I guess I'm leaving too.
Well, Elia, can I say what I love this week about Jada's exits in the scene on Monday and in the scene on, I think it was Thursday when you were at the Salem Inn, was every time you went to leave, you turned back around and was like, and one more thing.
That's
the thing. I know.
Tell me, that was my favorite too. Remember, Elia, at the door, you're like, "Got that, Mr. Editor-in-Chief?" And you just like flew out of there. I remember shooting that and being like, "God, yes. Yes.
I'm gonna go to a rival newspaper." Yeah, that was like the little. I'm gonna stick you there. I'm gonna go to a rival newspaper, destroy you.
Oh, that was her little pettiness coming through. So you're seeing a little. Jada can be a little petty, and you're gonna see all the different sides that Bobby is bringing out of her again, like these suppressed emotions and feelings, but it's still a part of her. But it's been great. I've been loving doing this work and scenes because it is rare that you see Jada like, Jada's a hard working detective, let's just say that. So she'd be shuffling papers and doing stuff and on the scene and doing a lot of cop stuff. But I think it's been really great and fun to really like sink my teeth into like getting to know her more and what makes her tick and what makes her, lose it or unravel, or like what pain is there, and just what human sides are there.
Yeah.
Sorry, gosh, what human sides are there to her. So yeah, it's been great. It's been fun.
Yeah, I will say it was enough to scare me though. Blake, were there moments where you just struggled to stay in it in those scenes when she's just coming at you that you're like, oh, what did I do?
No, it's very much like, you know what you did.
Well, I didn't do anything. What did I do?
I mean, I loved the situation so much. And I thought like just being able to look at Elia and Abigail and Galen's faces and we're all having such completely. I'm gone. Oh, there I am.
There you are.
Watching the same exact thing. I loved it. I mean, all you can do in those is play your, what. It's one of those times where it really, like, especially in soap, only have one take. So you're like, this is just happening. This is my life right now. Like, this is just happening in front of me. And maybe you can't hear me.
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can. Speaking of, Elia, you talked about the pettiness of Jada. What I loved was that the next day, Jada knocked on that door with a box like, we finna go through this because you're not gonna sit here and have me looking like I'm crazy.
Oh,
now let's go.
Yeah, Jada didn't sleep. She was up all night. Well, because even during the Valentine's episode when she was having that conversation when Rafe did catch up to her in the Horton Town Square, which I thought was that was great too. Moment with him with Galen, that was really great, and he did a great job too of playing that part and us playing off of each other, and but that moment there though, Jada was ready to go straight to the station and get down to the bottom on Valentine's Day, and like Rafe had to tell her like, hey, just just try to relax. Can we watch a movie and just try to calm down and not do that today? So she couldn't wait to go get those receipts and get the evidence because she knows what she has her truth and she knows what's up. And we're trying to figure, and I know he's figuring out.
Well, speaking of the,
I saw people calling him Bobberett.
Bobberett.
I like it. Like
Bobberett. Bobberett.
I was like, I like that. Yeah. Bobberett.
Speaking of the box of receipts, Danny Bear 87 wants to know: are we going to see what else is in Jada's box of receipts? Because that was a big old box.
It was a big box. There's a lot of documents in there, which you are going to see. Actually, that's a great question. You will see it. You'll see it coming up.
Okay, speaking of, was that a fake wedding photo? Or was that a real wedding photo? We couldn't exactly see it, so we were like, is that a prop thing, or did you guys shoot a wedding photo?
It was prop.
Okay.
But it was you guys though.
But they did an awesome 6 p.m. We did have it was
got it.
And it
was a good photo.
I wish we could have put it a little closer.
Yeah,
it was nice. So I remember
we really wanted to see it.
I was like, that's my face, because I thought it was like a random
right. Yeah. That's what we were wondering. We couldn't see it. I was like, I wonder if that was a quick obscure this from the camera a little bit because it's we
didn't do another one of those.
that was one of our favorite photos. We have a list on Dishin Days of interesting photos that the cast has taken, whether it's in character or not, and that has definitely gone on there. Yeah,
that is definitely the one. They can show that all the time.
I remember because that was in the very beginning. We were like, wait, what are we doing? We got to shoot it. They're like, you guys got to take a photo together. This is your ex-husband. Oh.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
that's probably day one.
Oh, okay.
Blake, how was that photo shoot? The engagement photo shoot.
Yeah, we only had the one, Elia, right? Yeah. I mean, it was funny because it was like probably a month or two before we actually got to work together on screen or more, and I mean, it was like one of my first days of work. So, but But I mean, I thought Elia was so charming, and I was like, oh, I was like, I assume we'll probably get to do some scenes together at some point, so that's fun.
Aww. It's the photo is like I feel like what we need to do, we normally here at Dishin Days, we have like little tchotchkes of like just stuff that reminds us of different storylines. And the only picture that we have is the picture of Kate and Sammy when they kind of took over Demera and replaced Stefano's photo in the mansion. I now think we have to add the Bobby Jada engagement photo and put that in a frame and add that to our tchotchkes.
Love that.
So we have so we're gonna just have like a couple more questions because we don't want to keep you guys on too long, because as we discovered last week, we will keep talking and talking and talking, and the next thing you know, we've been on here for like 2-3 hours.
As Paul tried to escape last week and sucking.
We did. At some point, we were just like, okay, bye, and we just had to like go. Abigail, Am Fitz wants to know, would you be on board if Stephanie went back to being a race car driver? Because when Stephanie was first introduced to us many moons ago, she was a race car driver. But if they ever decided to revisit the fast days of Stephanie, how would you feel about that?
I mean, actually, funny enough, I'd be down. I mean, where is this racing taking place though? Probably not in Salem, so maybe that would be sad for me. But maybe it's better than, I don't know, being shipped off to an island. I don't know. I would be down though, because I'm a huge Formula One fan, and funny enough, I was watching. You guys watch Drive to Survive on Netflix? Please tell me you do. Oh my God. Okay. Well, it's the best show, and it's all behind the scenes of Formula One racing. And it's so, anybody who's a soap fan would be a fan of the show because there's so much drama behind the scenes. So anyway, Danica Patrick was on, she was like one of the commentators on on the first episode, and I was laughing to myself because I've referenced Stephanie, used to be a race car driver, back with Danica Patrick, So I kind of think it's fun, and I like that they have woven that into certain moments that I've talked about on the show. So I kind of think, I don't know, maybe she could, maybe she could do PR for somebody who's like in racing. Yep. Who knows? I don't know. I feel like there's some kind of tie there that would be really fun, because I personally am a fan, which is hilarious that my character was a race car driver, because how random is that?
Or there's a way to like weave her back with EJ. Like they weren't a couple back then, but they were paired up a lot. So there's a way to like.
What I would wonder what because I actually don't know that history. I only know that he was a race car driver, but I know that they were rivals.
Yeah, they were rivals. Yeah.
Right. I know she also doesn't like him for him having her kidnapped and being put in a morgue. So like I know there's
some history there. Yeah.
But I didn't realize that they were rival drivers.
And that's when they both came to the show. So that was also EJ's introduction to the show So like they both came on together as I
didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, we need to revisit that.
Drama in racing.
That's really cool. So our show would not be our show without a message from my mother, who again texts me during the show because she finds her way into the chat, but then she just figures I'm just going to text him because that's what she does. But she wanted me to tell Miss Elia Cantu that you are a badass, and then she yelled at me because I wasn't looking at the screen.
Thank you, Mama Moore.
Mama Moore, Michael is not here today, so we're having a little button issue.
Tony is over here pushing buttons, looking at things, doing the most, and can't just sit here and do. I gotta do all the stuff, all the things. Before we let you guys go, though, can you guys give us, while keeping your jobs, any insight or tidbits as to what's to come with this storyline or with characters. You can use one word, you can use multiple, but just please make sure that you can go back to said job on Monday.
Something I'm just gonna circle back. Like, I can tell you that if you enjoyed the scenes with Elia and Abigail getting wasted, there's more of that to come.
Okay.
I remember a really fun episode coming up that's in that sort of a vibe.
We like that.
And in a certain way, like maybe all of it's true. All of the things on the table are true, you know?
Well, because let me tell you, we are back here being Salem PD ourselves. We have a file on Everett Bobby, and we're trying to, figure out the timeline of when he was with Jada, when he got hit by that car, when he went to the post office, why nobody at the hospital contacted anybody, why was he John Doe for so long? We have a lot of questions. So we have started our own detective.
Straight. Yeah.
It's okay, but
and maybe don't split those hairs too finely, Tony, because you never know what you'll find.
This is true. I'm gonna have to once we're done here, I'm gonna have to go through my file again just to make sure that we have all the notes in order.
They may not be still in order. Yeah.
Abigail or Elia, how about you guys? What can we look forward to coming up?
Elia's giving us that face.
I mean, more of us, more of Jada and Stephanie, because look, the bomb has exploded. Right now, it's time to pick the pieces. Okay, and I think we're gonna see more of that. So yes, like. Okay, so we got Bobberett, being consistent with, his story. You have Jada, who's coming in saying, this is the facts, this is my truth, these are my memories, and this is what I know to be true. And then you have, Stephanie, who's like, okay, what is happening? We got to figure this out. So we're all trying to figure it out, but from different perspectives. I guess that's the key word. We all have very strong different perspectives. But when you all sit back now that we know what is what, who cheated on who, the timeline at least, even whether a person remembers or not, that's facts. Yeah. So Jada's gonna have one of those moments again. I'll just say that. I kind of like, wait, hold on, wait a minute.
Oh boy.
So. And some things are going to come out of Stephanie and Jada's friendship that was never discussed before. But you'll see some things there that we never talked about. But you're like, oh, okay. So their friendship dynamic or history.
Oh, are y'all okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think it was on somebody's screen. It wasn't the car.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
No, I'm dead.
The way we all paused.
Looks like, guys.
Because I heard his screech and I looked at his face and he was all like,
I know.
It was just very loud. That was it. Sorry. The only other thing I'll add is that you're gonna. There's many more big surprises coming. Big. There's more. Like the cat's sort of out of the bag, but there's more cats in that bag.
I feel like I'm watching Argyle all over again.
And also, you're going to see Everett fighting his ass off to keep Stephanie in a. He really but he'll be faced with quite a lot of adversity in that respect. Just given what's already going on.
This feels like a double dare obstacle course that Bobberett is about to go through. Which, by the way, we're gonna officially go ahead and say that we are deeming Blake's character Bobberett from here on out. So whenever we're referring to Bobby and Everett, Bobberett. That's it. Signed, sealed, delivered. Abigail, do you want to add any tidbits to it?
Well, what's funny and what I again, I know we keep coming back to that Valentine's Day episode, but it really encapsulates what I think is going to come ahead too is, and basically it's what Elia and Blake are saying, is that, and this is what I feel about it, is each of us had our own perspective. And I think even as you keep watching, I think you'll find yourself understanding more and more where everybody's coming from, and sort of feeling like at least I remember feeling like all of us are right. There's really no villain here. Like, we are all right. And I remember thinking that this is a good story, because just when you think so-and-so should be at fault for XYZ, you're suddenly like, no, wait, I do get why you did that. Maybe it's this person. So I love that there's no clear answer, at least at this point in the story. That's what I was feeling. And that I think, and that's a testament to these guys here too, is that everybody really owned their own character's perspective in a way that there was no judgment. Nobody judged how they would react, right? So that's why it worked, because you're left feeling like, well, you're right, and you're right, and yeah, you're right, so that's what I think you'll see more of, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
This was so much fun, you guys. It's lovely seeing you all. I'm gonna hop off, but thank you for having me, and hope I didn't have too many technical things.
No, you were fine. You're here.
Safe.
You did great. Thank you, Blake, for joining us. We appreciate you. Be safe.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Whatever.
This show never ceases to amaze us. 9 years into it, and it's still quite the adventure. I want to thank you guys for joining us as well. And again, we're super excited for this storyline.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much coming out of it, not just with story, but also I feel like this is going to be a time for you guys to explore yourselves, like as actors, and explore your characters a little bit more. So I think as Days fans, we are very excited just to see that. So we're here for the journey with you guys, and we're here for the ride. And I'm definitely here for Bobberett, because that name, I mean, the people in the chat are like cackling and they love it. So
good.
Bobberett.
Thank you.
It's official. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And we're definitely going to have you guys back once, because I know it's going to heat up even more. And we're going to have you guys back.
Right. Just like Blake said before he hopped off. Yeah, there are some cats in the bag. Because I forgot about something and I just remembered. I don't know. So I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, there's an obstacle that's going to pop up. And soon. It shouldn't take too long, I don't think. But yeah, and a hint, it's something with, well, whatever. I won't say more hints.
Wait, one more question before you guys hop off. What's the pacing going to be like? Because it took a while to get here. But how do you guys feel like the pacing now that we're on the track? How do you guys feel about the pacing, and what's that going to look like moving forward?
Is it a slow burn, or is it pick up a bit?
I think slow. I'm trying to remember, but I feel like it was kind of slow.
It's going to go a little slow, and then it's going to pick up, and then go a little slow again.
Okay.
Yeah. So too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to remember.
I know. Bless y'all's heart.
Back the timeline, but yeah, something's going to happen again. Something's going to pop, like where you think then it's going to be like bam, like no, you thought, and then it'll be like, and then that's going to uncover itself. But it'll be interesting. It's not going to be. It's gonna be a slow, good burn, not know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I've been hitting my head against the wall for a couple of weeks now.
Oh, don't do that, Araceli.
Please don't do that.
I'm getting a headache, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. And I was not hitting my head on the wall. I did celebrate a wedding though.
Yay! Well, not yours. Not yet. It's not her wedding.
No. She had a birthday.
Because next thing you know, tomorrow's headline, Elia Cantu was married over the weekend.
That would be a headline to my whole family.
Be a headline to everybody. I'd be like, who she got married to?
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Well, it's always a joy to see you guys, and thank you guys so much. And
Thank you guys for having us.
Of any time, and I'm just so excited. I'm excited for this storyline. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I can't wait for it to dig in deeper to like this time in each of these characters' life. So we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you, ladies.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a
Thanks,
good
guys.
day. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye. Thank you
Thank
guys. Oh, we always have such a good time with them.
I still think Stephanie should stay single, but that's my opinion.
Listen, you let Stephanie live her life, okay? Stephanie is
on anything else. She's allowed.
Stephanie is a young, vibrant
Take in the universe.
businesswoman who can thrive in anything. But right now, she's just got a bump in the road. But it's okay. We're going to be there to support her. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Dishin Days, and we'll be back next week where we're serving up another full dish of what's coming up on this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera. But before we go, Justin Lee Hareld, where can the folks find you so that they can like you, follow you, comment on you?
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
And Araceli, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tia323 Araceli.
And if you guys want to say hello to Michael Mattis, go on over to ML Mattis on Instagram and Twitter. And you can find me on all social media platforms at Loungin' with Tony. And of course, you can find us Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. I knew there was a burp coming and I was going to try to fight through, but it just couldn't happen. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to Abigail Klein, Elia Cantu, and Blake Berris for joining us and giving us all the juicy details about the Bobberett. Oh, I can't see. I was going to keep going, but then I just got stuck on Bobberett. For all the details on Bobberett, Jada, and Stephanie, as you guys know, there is so much more to come. And in order to find out what we think about it, make sure you tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Dishin Days. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. And now it's me trying to find the button because Michael Mattis isn't here. Bye.